When they send you to insurers exams, that is them saying that there's no doctors within our medical system that know what they're doing.
The financial problems that I experienced were very, very stressful. I think it is probably the worst time in my life.
It takes a long time to get better. These people need assistance because this is a really difficult thing to go through.
Brain injury is an invisible condition and cannot be assessed with watching somebody doing day-to-day tasks.
Most people are not fraudulent. Most people, when they have an injury, they want to get back to what they're doing as fast as they can.
I had absolutely no idea what I would be facing. It was really more about how can we pay you less.
I don't remember the crash. My first clear memory was 9 days after the crash. And it was Gracie's doctor coming in. Sorry. That's the first time it stuck that she was gone. My case manager put together a plan and went to the physiotherapist to say, well, how often does she need to come in here? Went to the massage therapist and said, okay, well, what would that take? And then they put the plan into insurance. And it came back pretty much every time with deny stamped on it. She had the file in front of her from 12, 15 doctors saying what my injuries were, what care I needed, from another 10 professionals who said, this is what she needs for rehab. And it was one person with no medical degree who decided none of them knew what they were talking about. I got IE'd on a psychologist. My 11-year-old daughter died in that crash, and they IE'd me on a psychologist. So what we want is to cut out the IEs completely. When it's something that catastrophic, there's no reason for them. I understand there are people who would, with minor injuries who will try to get more from insurance. But you're talking about the other extreme. And when it's very clear to anybody who meets you that you need help, I don't understand why they make you fight.
The insurance company is not your friend. The insurance company is not there to help you. The insurance company do everything they possibly can to eliminate the benefits to you. I have no memory of the accident. I was driving down Roseville Road. A lorry came out of the quarry as I'm coming up. A 7.5 pound rock bounced up after the lorry, and unfortunately I drove through it, came right in through the front window of the car, hit me in the face. I think I've got like 17 metal plates in this side of the head at this point. And I blacked out. So I was in hospital for a month. I was almost 2 weeks in an induced coma. And during the time I was in the coma, my father was speaking to the insurance about income replacement. And it was the same insurance company that I'd had insurance for many, many years. They told me that I was not eligible for income replacement because I was now self-employed as opposed to employing myself in my old firm. And in the end, my father threatened to take the insurance company to court. And as soon as court came into the equation, The insurance immediately backed off and said that they would now consider income replacement. They then determined that I was eligible for $350 a week, his $400 was the max. And they asked me a simple question. If my business had continued to grow, would I have bought a second van? I thought that was a very simple question, and I said yes, if my business had continued to grow, I would have bought a second van. They then told me that because I intend to buy a second van, that they would start amortizing that van immediately. So my $350 was immediately reduced by the insurance to $32. So the first 2 years of my accident, while I'm still loopy in the head, I get $32 a week from these people. And in hindsight, the lack of help from the insurance on this is mystifying. Why did they never once have some kind of expert help me out with a situation, or even act interested in my situation? Just once. Never.
I was in a coma for a week. You wake up and you have to assess what's happened to you. Lots of injuries, soft tissue injuries besides breaking my neck. So yeah, there was a lot of recovery work to do, learning to balance again and walk properly. So I went home to physiotherapy and occupational therapy, grief counseling, driver rehab. It was an intense schedule of recovery and exhausting. I had lots of support from the insurance company. I feel like in my case, I was lucky because not everybody does. One of the things that I noticed for myself after having been injured this way is that recovering and going to appointments for therapies is exhausting work and full-time work. It's therapy and rest. Therapy and rest, that's all you have time for. For me, I didn't feel close to strong till 2 years after the accident. I see it as a David and Goliath situation with the insurance company and the claimants. It's a big uphill battle for the people who've been severely injured in car accidents to have to prove that they need benefits and support. We keep hearing from government representatives that there's a lot of fraud going on in the system, and we understand that maybe that does happen. But we want to know that people who've been severely injured have support available to them when they need it. I would like to see the system become more helpful to the people who've been through traumatic accidents rather than protecting insurance companies' bottom line.
The driver of the vehicle I was in was distracted and crossed onto the other side of the road. There was a loaded dump truck coming towards us with nowhere to go because we were on a bridge. So the passenger side of the vehicle got most of the impact. I was airlifted to Sick Kids Hospital, where I was in a coma for 12 days. As a result of the accident, I suffered brain injury, I'm legally blind, I have no sense of smell, the list goes on.
All along the way, myself and her case manager implementing all the help that she needed, and she needed a lot. The insurance pays for all of that, so you have to keep proving that you need it and why you need it, and it's relentless. I remember once our lawyer's office phoning me and saying, "You need to warn Ashley that she's probably being watched." And I said, is this legal? And they said, "Oh yes, it's probably been going on for a while."
Oh, I saw this individual take their garbage out every morning, so they're fine, they can function. Well, that doesn't represent the social communication struggles that they might have as a result of their brain injury.
Feels like an infringement of your privacy.
Going forward, I would like to see surveillance being used only for physical conditions and not as an assessment of how someone is doing with their brain injury.
My medical records were asked for. 9 years of however many times I went to the doctor, all recorded, things that had nothing to do with the accident. I don't know that that was really something that is fair either.
Something that you might not be aware of is that the laws around support available for individuals after brain injury has changed, and unfortunately that support is less and harder to receive. Because my accident happened 17 years ago, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of support available through the insurance. It took work to get that support available, but through the speech language pathology that I had, occupational therapists, just countless therapists, I was able to succeed at graduating university.
Ashley has rehabilitated far better than they ever predicted she would. What was in place then was better than what is now in place for people. My heart goes out to people that are not getting enough coverage for rehab.
People today don't realize how much money they're going to need for therapy. And with that cut in half to what we even had, that's going to have a huge impact on them. My wife Nancy and I were going on a country road. Somebody came through a stop sign and T-boned us. My head must have hit something because there was descalping, and I had brain injury from the impact of the head.
When I went into the ICU and saw Dave, he knew who I was, but he had no awareness of an accident or where he was or why he was there. There was initially about a 3-week period where Dave was out of it and just physically present, but not mentally present in any way. And then as he emerged out of that, it was rage at everything.
My daughter was trying to tell me something when something else was going on, and I got angry. It seemed like I was angry at her, but I finally figured out that I'm not angry at anybody, I'm angry at myself.
For the first 2 years, Dave couldn't even recognize that he had any losses. And so he kept basically beating his head against a brick wall, trying to do what he did before, and having incredible frustration.
And I didn't really know how bad it was until I tried to actually go back to work. We were very fortunate to have enough money for therapy. If I didn't have that, I don't know where I would be today. I may have lost my family even, because that was crucial to helping me get through that and helping them get through it as well.
The money that we had available to us for Dave's care was $100,000, and that's 17 years ago. People having the injury today would not have access to the resources that we did.
$1 million sounds like a lot of money. If you didn't have to use it for therapy, it might be a lot of money. It might pay some bills or get you out of debt. But if you're paying for therapy, there's a limited time that $1 million is going to last you, and it won't last you your lifetime for sure. And you need it for your lifetime.
the roads were okay, and then as we hit a certain spot in the road, black ice, and a truck coming the other way lost control and hit us head on.
The truck swerved across the road, hit some ice, and slammed into the front side of our car, the driver's side. After that, you know, it was the shock of being in an accident, but then also seeing my mom pretty badly beaten up, so it was pretty tough.
I expected to pick up where I left off, but as time went on, it became apparent that I had to work 5 times as hard as I did before, trying to remember what was in a lesson and then forget it in the morning. At the mediation, the lawyer that was for the insurance company sort of sat with his arm draped over the back of the chair and looked me up and down while he talked to me and asked me all kinds of questions in different ways to see, I guess, if I would answer it the same way. Being interrogated and being challenged all the time as though what you're saying isn't true is stressful. It's stressful and it's exhausting. Brain injury often comes with chronic fatigue. I think everybody I know that's got a brain injury deals with that. By the time we got to mediation, it had been, I think, 7 years, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So I agreed and we settled, and that was the end of it. They definitely do try to wear you down. I really believe that that's their agenda, that, you know, let's see how soon we can get them to sign off and for the least amount of money as possible. I understand why the insurance companies behave the way they do. I just don't understand why they're allowed to.